morning. Let's take a look at the bell work here. We're going to continue our work on graphing inequalities. So on this one right here, we're going to call this first one A and the second one B. So we're going to take this and solve for the y. So we're going to move the 3x over here and the sign's going to change. So you're going to get 2y is greater than or equal to negative 3x minus 2. We're going to divide by a positive 2. Remember now, if you divide by a negative number, the inequality would change. Let me say that again. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, the inequality changes. Write that down. But here, we're dividing by a positive number, so it's not going to change. So we're going to get this. And I'm going to make it a little smaller so I can do some work here. The y-intercept on this one is a negative 1, so you want to go down 1. The slope is down 3, but to the right 2. And this one is solid because it has an equal. And actually both of these are solid. I'm going to test 0, 0 into the original equation. So if I put a 0 here, I get 0, right? 3 times 0. If I put a 0 here, I get 0. So I get 0 is greater than or equal to a negative 2. It is greater, so that's true. So we're going to color the true sign. On B, which is right here, I'm going to move the x over here. So I'm going to get 2y, and then I'm going to get a negative x plus 2. Then I'm going to divide by 2 and get y is less than or equal to negative x over 2. And you might as well put a 1 right here. And then 2 divided by 2 is going to be 1. So you're going to go up 1 and put a dot. Your slope is down 1 over 2. And this one looks like this. And I assume that these are going to cross here. I'm going to test 0, 0, so 0 plus 0. I get 0 is less than or equal to 2. Let's think about that. 0 is, that's true, so this one goes this way. And so your answer would be right here. And by the way, this is number 8 on your worksheet yesterday. If you were absent, the worksheets are over there on the cart. Help yourself. All right, this one right here, these are special cases. Okay? To graph the special case, this one says x. So this is your x. You're going to go negative 3 using tick marks. And so this one is going to be vertical, but it's actually broken. Okay, now, of course, I made it solid, so I'm going to go ahead and use some correction tape and make it broken. Okay, there it is. Now I'm going to use 0, 0. Actually, it's greater. See how it's open? If it's open, it's bigger. So it's going to go that way. You don't even need to test that one. This one right here is y. That's your y-axis right here. And up to 1, 2. So this one is broken as well. So this one's going to look like this. I'll make it a little darker so it doesn't blend in with the rest of it. Okay? All right. And this one is 1 dot. It's not open. It's smaller. So it's got to go down. So this one would be this region right here. Now, the question is, if you're on this broken line, is it a solution? And the answer is no, because it's broken. It would have to be solid to be a solution. All right, so today, your worksheet is right here. We're going to skip 1 through 4, so don't worry about where that is. And here's some more of it. And I will post it on online as well. This one right here I made bigger, and I had to handwrite the first 2 because they were cut off. So there it is right there. It's the same paper, I just had to write it bigger. So you can go ahead and use that one if you need it bigger. Okay? Let's turn our attention now to 7th period. I also put a clean copy in there too. All right, so I'm trying to cover all bases. Let's go to 7th period here. Seventh period says write a partial decomposition. Well, we're going to watch a video on that, but let's think about this one. So how do you factor the bottom? The bottom has an x in common, so you're going to take out an x, and you're left with x plus 1. Okay, so that's what you have. All right, so at this point, you're going to break this up as to a over x plus b over x plus 1. Okay? You're going to multiply everything by your least common denominator, which is x times x plus 1. Okay? When you do that, all of this cancels here. So you're left with 1 is equal to, when you do this, the x cancels and you're left with a times x plus a times 1. Like that. Okay? When you do this one, the x plus 1 cancels and you're left with b times x. Okay? So let's take a look at this and see what's going on here. All right. So we're going to use 0 here. Let's see if we use 0, what happens. If we use x is equal to 0, right there, then what's going to happen is these two drop out. Because 0 times a is 0, and 0 times b is 0. So you're left with a equals 1. Okay? And then here, if you use a negative 1 right there, x is negative 1. Let's see what happens. This becomes 1 is equal to a times negative 1 would make that a negative a plus a, and that would make that a negative b. Okay? So we know a is 1 here. So you can plug 1 back in here. So you're going to get 1 is equal to negative 1 plus 1 and negative b. This would cancel. You're going to divide by a negative and get b is equal to a negative 1. And those should be it. So your partial fraction should be a is 1. So it's 1 over x plus negative 1 over x plus 1. Now let's just see if that works. So if you multiply this one right here by x plus 1, and if you multiply this one by x, you're going to get x plus 1 up at the top over your least common denominator, which is all of this, plus negative x over x plus 1 times x, which is your least common denominator. Now that your denominators are the same, you can go ahead and add numerators. And when you add numerators, the x's cancel. So you're going to get 1 over your least common denominator, which is x times x plus 1, which is what we started with. And that's how you do the decomposition. On this one right here, you're going to factor this into the difference of two squares, x plus 1 and x minus 1, and then you're going to write your equation. So it's going to be 1 over x squared minus 1 is equal to a over x plus 1, and then plus b over x minus 1. And then you work it the same way. You multiply by your least common denominator, and stuff drops out. What you're going to use for your x's, you're going to use x equals a negative 1 and x equals a positive 1, because 1 plus a negative 1 gives you 0. And you're looking for your zeros. We're going to watch another video on this, hopefully make some more sense out of it, and then your assignment is right here. All right, I hope that works. Have a good morning, and I'll see you in class.